And welcome into another edition of Miz-Stl on the Lou Information Station. I'm Grant Salzman. He's Brendan Schaefer. And it's a beautiful Friday morning, the day before the eve of maybe the biggest game Mizzou and Vanderbilt have ever played against each other. Actually, not maybe, definitely the biggest game that Mizzou and Vanderbilt have ever played against each other. And we'll be in attendance, Mr. Schaefer. How hyped up are you for tomorrow?
I mean, I'm fired up. I'm ready to get down to Nashville and enjoy the scenery, enjoy the festivities, take a peek at what's going on with College Game Day. I know Nashville and specifically Vanderbilt is hyped up for this. Like, it's more than just the Nashville angle of it. That's, a nice bonus that Vanderbilt is in Nashville. But I think specifically, like, it was a point of contention that Vanderbilt wanted the game day stuff to be on campus and everything like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And I tell you, I mean, it is kind of unique that when you think about Mizzou, Vanderbilt, kind of both programs that have been, at least in terms of the way you think about them or the SEC at large thinks about them, more of the afterthought category. Now, Mizzou has accomplished more than Vanderbilt over the last dozen years or so since the Tigers have been in the SEC. But most SEC programs, their fan bases, their media kind of just push them both to the side. But this week, it's completely different than that. Vanderbilt is absolutely getting the love and the national attention, and that is just fine. I don't think that Eli Drinkwitz would have it any other way because he can use it as fuel and probably has been doing that, Grant, all week long.
And that's one of the things we talked about was this, like, rat poison that, a lot, to use one of Eli Drinkwitz's words, it's that, like, I'm glad this game or not, like game day or not, I'm glad Vandy beat LSU because it's a full week it was almost when we were talking about the Auburn-Georgia game, it's like, oh, do you want Auburn to win? And maybe they hear how great they are and, oh, they aren't as bad as people think. Like, this Vandy team, it's an unprecedented amount of coverage that they have.
Yeah.
Really, Mizzou's hasn't had game day in the recent memory either, but Mizzou has been in top 10 games before they played the Cotton Bowl. Like, for Vandy, none of those players on Vanderbilt have ever felt this before. A full week being talked about of McAfee is going to be covering you all week. There's Saturday. The big names are all going to be there talking about how awesome and how great your program is, your team is. Like, I know that the game is played on the field, but you can't underestimate that with 18 to 22-year-old players, or in Diego Pavia's case, 37-year-old quarterbacks as well.
But I don't actually think that's going to play that much of a part. Like, I think we're reaching and searching a little bit for this idea of we're hoping Vanderbilt, consumes some rat poison. And I don't think they're going to. I think that their coach has them in a place where that's not something they can afford to do. And they know that. They know what their mission is. I think Clark Lee and Eli Drinkwitz, maybe not exterior wise, because Drink is a lot more kind of bombastic and, flamboyant, not afraid to kind of make a headline and say something a little bit cheeky, quirky, whatever, to kind of catch some attention. But I think at their core, they're very similar in the ways that they want to motivate their team and keep their team on task. And so I think that'll be an interesting element of this matchup. But I think this is like the natural inclination is to talk about, like, hey, Vandy's never been here before. Are they gonna stumble? I think they're gonna bring their A game. And I think if you're Missouri, you can't spend any time wondering whether Vandy might give you anything less than its A game. And Missouri's going to need theirs to win this one. I think they wanted Auburn, Grant, with about a C game, a C-plus game maybe that the Tigers played at Auburn. That might even be a little bit generous. Defense deserves some credit for the way that it played. Yeah, it might have been more like C-minus, D-plus if we're being totally honest. I think Bo Prabula is going to have to be better. I'm still seeing clips surface even late in the week here from last weekend of the Auburn game where Bo Prabula is, making a throw to the first read that is covered, and instead of seeing the wide open player that might have been a better option, Bo Prabula's got to open his eyes this week. I think this game is going to be one in which points are scored, and you have to try to kind of play that keep-up game with Vanderbilt's high-power offense, and I don't know if you're going to be able to do that without having Bo Prabula open his eyes a little bit and see what's there beyond the first read that's covered. I mean, that's been a real problem that we've been able to diagnose for him over the last several weeks. I'm not saying it's not one that he can't overcome because he's a player that hasn't started a ton of games in college football yet, Grant, but no time better than this one to figure it out if you're Bo Prabula for the Tigers.
Yeah, interesting stat. I believe both defenses are top 12 in the nation stopping the run. I think this game could come down to who controls the line of scrimmage defensively and who shuts down the run game. Because I was talking with Howard Richards yesterday, the Mizzou color analyst. We did a show on STL Sports Central, and he said that, and we were kind of discussing what we discussed on Wednesday's show, Brendan, of keep Pavia in that pocket, keep those rushing lanes integrity when you're rushing the passer. You can't go too far upfield, this and that we discussed. But on top of it, it's the linebackers got to make tackles on Pavia because he's going to break one. Like whether it's a design run, whether it's a scramble, like he's going to get outside, and it's now up to Trotter, Jacobs, those guys to maybe turn the 8 to 10 yard gain that you can live to fight another day, keep it at that and not let it turn into the 25 yards. So I think being able to control Pavia, and that starts with the normal run game of Vandy, the handoffs, the read options, and then that extends to being able to hold them from scrambling. Like you got to give them behind the sticks, and that starts stopping the run on first and second down.
Yeah, that feels like the given in this matchup is that you can't also have Vanderbilt's running backs carving you up for 6-7 yards a pop, like it felt like was happening for Jam Miller and Alabama. That was a bit of an issue in that game. And there wasn't as much of that, I thought, for Auburn. They broke one big, long run, but largely, at least I'm not looking at the stats, but it feels like Mizzou did okay in that category. But that's an offense that's putrid. I mean, Auburn's offense on paper is bottom of the barrel in the SEC. There's not a lot. They might have pieces and parts that you think are compelling, but as a unit, they just have not been able to consistently put it together. And that is not the story for this Vanderbilt team. And so you have got to go in expecting, to be thrown Vandy's best. I certainly think Pavia in that offense is going to bring the A game. I would wonder, are there moments in time where Pavia, I think we saw it against the Alabama game, forces things a little bit, forces the issue, and that can lead to him making some mistakes? Yeah, perhaps. And you got to be ready for those opportunities if they present themselves, and you do have to try to force them. But I would say that rather than trying to sell out for the big play and get lured into believing that that's a possibility or a likelihood, I think Missouri's just got to be smart in what it does defensively to avoid Pavia becoming the magician that can break this game. But you're right. I think that does have to, like, the given within that context has to be, well, they can't have Alexander running for 8 yards every time he touches the ball too, because otherwise you're really behind the 8 ball if you're Mizzou.
Yeah, Mizzou gave up 111 rushing yards to Cobb. 41 of those, though, came on one play. So you take that out,
right.
You have 18 carries for 70-something yards. You just can't let them pop the big one. Jam Miller ran all over Vandy, too. He had 120-plus something yards as well against Vandy. So
that's my key.
So if we're looking on the other side, I think the key for the defense is put Vandy in obvious passing situations, 2nd and 9s, 3rd and 8s, down so that you're pretty confident they're going to pass. And if they don't, hold them.
And then spy Pavia when you do, by the way. Spy Pavia when you do, because that can be dangerous.
I brought that up with Howard, and he said the big point was if you're going to spy, you have to find a way to install the spy switches. Because if you're spying Trotter every single time, Pavia's just going to go, okay, the guy on the left side's spying me. I'll roll out to the right, and I'll be able to beat him. Like, you got to be able to scheme it up. I like the idea of that linebacker, whoever you decide to be, Trotter, Jacobs, whoever's in there, of on 3rd downs. Maybe he's the extra blitzer. Maybe he fakes the blitz and spies. Maybe he acts like he's spying delayed blitz. Like, I know we've talked about simplifying things for this defense. I think
that's maybe not possible.
I think that needs to be for the secondary, needs to keep it simplified. Your front 7 is good enough to run weird stunts, run delayed blitzes. Like, they are good enough and smart enough, I think, to do that. And I think if you can confuse Pavia for even that half a second in a game like this, that's a half a second too long, and you get to him where he has to throw the ball away.
Yeah, and you mentioned like simplifying in the secondary, and I think those guys are going to have to play better. I know that they didn't give up maybe a ton to Jackson Arnold, but it just feels like at times, and maybe every college football team has this problem, but at times it feels so easy. It feels like they're not, the secondary and they're in the zone is not beginning to play the play until the ball is caught by the wide receiver. And they're 10 yards deeper, and it's like they're terrified to give up something over the top. And I totally understand that, especially when you're playing against Pavia, because he's capable of doing it to you. But I think you also have to be, a little bit more trusting in what you're doing back there and not allow those 3rd and 9s. Because you're right, like getting him into 3rd and long is a great ideal. But the last couple of games, especially the Alabama game, it was just That didn't mean anything. Getting them into 3rd and long didn't mean anything because they were either able to convert it or they were able to get into a 4th and intermediate that they were comfortable going for on the right spots of the field. And so you really didn't gain anything out of it. They have to be, I think, smart in those situations, and it's not going to be easy. And like I said, I think this game is not won with fewer than 30 points. And so if you are, if you're in that situation and they beat you, you just have to be willing to shake it off and go to the next play. But that also means that Bo Perbula's offense and Ahmad Hardy offensively, Jamal Roberts too. Like, I think Mizzou's run game is going to have to, you mentioned Jam Miller getting after the Vanderbilt defense. I think Mizzou is going to need that run game, and it's going to need Kirby Moore to give that run game a chance. I don't think Kirby Moore gave him a chance in the last couple of games. Alabama game, didn't really use it a ton. And in the Auburn game, I just didn't think they used it effectively. And it's not just me saying it. Eli Drinkwitz coming back to it on Tuesday's press conference saying, the plays that work, we need to run them again. And in the concepts that work, we need to go back to them. And we didn't do a good enough job of that in the Auburn game. And I feel like that's been a topic of conversation between Drinkwitz and the rest of his offensive coaching staff this week.
So what's the solution? I mean, I totally 100% agree with you. You have to run the ball. I don't even want to say, let me look at what you ran the ball just with your running backs 27 times. Perbula has 16 carries. I don't know of those 16 what were sacks, what was designed, and what was scrambles. But let's go 27 touches to your running backs. Like, I would like 30, but I'm not going to nitpick over 3 more touches. So, like, I'm not even saying it needs to be more. It just needs to be better. It needs to be more. It
needs to be different. Stop slamming the ball into the line of scrimmage. Stop. What are we doing running inside when right now, I don't know if it's the guards or if it's Tollison or if it's a combination of the 3, but Drinkwitz mentioned the guy's looking timid with the play calls. I don't think he's talking about Ahmad Hardy. I think he's talking about the offensive line. I think he's talking about the assignments on, who's when they bring an extra man and you're trying to run block. What is it that we're assigned to do? Where are we trying to feed the running back so that he can have the best chance to maybe break an arm tackle instead of having to, be swallowed up by multiple defenders who are unblocked going into the hole? Like, that's not going to work. So if it's happening, you have to decide, okay, are we capable of getting this right? Our offensive guards, like Piegler, I think, has struggled. There's just been that interior of the offensive line that has not been nearly as good when the competition is ramped up in the defensive fronts that they're seeing. And so is that something they can overcome and fix, or is it something that they say, look, Vanderbilt has, just like Mizzou, some of the best no blitz pressure rates that we've seen. When you're not bringing a blitz, they're still pressuring. Now, that's more in talking about the pass blocking, but I think it's applicable too, because I think what Auburn did is they didn't care if you were running or passing it. They were going to tee off and basically say, Bo Perbula gets too frantic. Bo Perbula is going to make mistakes. He's going to either, throw the ball to us, or he's going to tuck it and just basically fall on the ground like he did multiple times on the goal line when he felt like he could hear the footsteps. And so there's not enough variation in the way that you combat those two things. They were doing some things in the short passing game with screens to wide receivers that I thought were effective in the first half. And again, I think that might apply to some of the things that Eli Drinkwitz is mentioning, that they didn't go back to it enough in the second half. They didn't really do a ton of the screen game to Jamal Roberts when he's in the game. I think you have to be willing. He's a good pass blocker, but he can chip, and then you can spring him, and that can be something that gets you those key 3 to 5 to 7 yard plays that set you up for second and manageable, third and manageable, rather than some of the situations that they found themselves. And then, like Drink mentioned, the counter scheme specifically, like the way that you run the football, you need to be thinking about, is everybody on the same page to effectively do it? And are we leaving some meat on the bone with some of the stylistic examples of play calling that are different than just, hey, we want to get to a requisite number of how many touches Ahmad Hardy gets because we felt like he didn't touch the ball enough in Alabama. That's like the simplistic solution, is to just, okay, give him the ball again. Well, he's not going to do it all of himself. You have to have everybody confident in the way that you're running. And, let's do a little bit more of the stretch plays. Let's do a little bit more of, I don't care if you have to pitch it to him to get him outside. I think Ahmad Hardy one-on-one in space can beat somebody. This wasn't in space, and this wasn't one-on-one. This was 2, 3-on-1, and he just didn't have a chance, Grant, behind the line of scrimmage. So the solution to me is the number of touches, not the problem in this game. We've evolved from that. Now we need to evolve back into how are we running the football, and the win, I think, is important as well.
Yeah, and to your point, like there was one play in the second half, a Hardy, literally Perbula almost got sacked on the play on a handoff. Like Ahmad Hardy has no chance if that's happening. And to your point with the screen game, like it was working a little bit in that first half. They finally went back to it on that drive when they're pinned back, trying to go get 3. Manning gets a screen, gets about 12, and they run one to Roberts, and obviously it's a high throw from Bo, It goes over his head. It's backwards. Roberts probably should have maybe caught the football anyway.
No, that was terrible from Perbula. He's just got to be better. He's just got to line that, like, whether he should have or shouldn't have. You can't let that ball go backwards. That is the clutch moments of games that I thought Drinkwitz's teams have been so good at the last couple of years, and they were not in that series of the Auburn game. Bo's got to be better in execution. He just does.
Yes, but my frustration with that play call is if you're going to throw a screen to Roberts, throw a screen out of the backfield. Like you can throw a screen to a receiver out of empty that has maybe is a little more comfortable with catching a ball like that in that situation. And that's just the little things of the executing. Yes, Bo didn't execute, but maybe if you have Josh Manning out there catching that screen, okay, it's a little high, he catches it, he plunges forward for 3-4 yards. Okay, no harm, no foul.
I think the game sped up on Bo and the coaching staff in those moments where they're like trying to figure out that, like, if we're going to call Bo frantic, let's call Kirby Moore. I thought there was some frantic play calling that just, whether it's timid or frantic or whatever you want to say, it's just got to be tightened up a little bit. And I'm not, calling for anybody's head today. I'm just saying there's an agreement, and I think it's universal that everybody sees it. There's a consensus. Let's tighten these things up and we can win this football game.
And this has been Missouri under Elijah Drinkwitz. He's been great. I'm same thing, but they have been very bad in managing end of half situations. You think of the Kansas State game that Mizzou won. In no way ever should that have been a 61-yard field goal. And it turned into an awesome moment, but no way ever. Like Oklahoma got 10 points at the end of the half last year because of poor clock management. Like there's been a lot of things that have gone wrong at end of halves, and that was one of them. Time ticking down. Like, again, it's the play calling. I know Drink is not overstepping, doesn't want to overstep with Kirby Moore, but that's a moment as a head coach.
I think he might have this week. I think the fact that he talked about it in the press conference, Grant, tells you, like, that was as close as we've seen him to going, well, let's get a little bit more hands-on and talk about this during the week so we're ready for Saturday, and I don't have to do it then.
But maybe as the head coach, I'm saying you're at the 30-yard line. Maybe that's when you just got to get everyone to take a deep breath. Take that extra second to call the play. Let's run the ball. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's just – we have time. Like, things got a little frantic, and they didn't need to. And part of that is if you have Blake Craig healthy, they probably hand the ball off twice.
Oh, yeah. They're kicking that from the 47-yard field goal spot that they were at, and they're satisfied to do that. But I think they could have run the ball and tried to get it to a 42-yarder, and, like, maybe Robbie Meyer misses that. Maybe Oliver Robbins misses that, but they were trying to bite off more than they were prepared to chew. Yeah.
I agree. Now, like if you get it to 40 yards, you kick it, and if it happens, great. If not, we go to overtime. But you didn't even give yourself a chance. But I think moments like that in a game that will be this close in Vandy, that we assume will be this close, are going to be important. Running the football will be important. A play that I want to see them go back to, that Drink talked about, calling plays that work. Where is the little naked boot out of the pistol and throwing it to Brett Norfleet? Where is that been? It worked so well time after time after time in 2023, 2024, even in 24, when you didn't run the ball well at all. It worked. Like, it is not, I don't want to say an unstoppable play, but we see at all levels of football, a boot throwing to your tight end and getting him out in space works, or a naked boot and throwing it to your running back in open space works. Like, it is so hard to cover. And if they come down on Norfleet on his route, all of a sudden you run a little slant from the other side, little cross from the other side, and Coleman's open. Like, you got to figure that.
That's kind of similar. That's kind of similar to the play. I don't know if it was quite to that level. Bo ended up rolling out to the right, but the play in the Alabama game where Bo did not see Marquise Johnson down the field, I think Norfleet was covered up. Like, that's the other thing that Bo has not demonstrated an ability to do is as he's on the run, identify the next open man. And even in the pocket, he's not been able to identify the next open man or the first open man beyond whatever his first read is. Like, that has been a challenge. I don't know that it's something that overnight is going to get fixed. Maybe we're seeing, we've seen small glimpses where he made a throw to Olubade in this past game that I thought he was looking left the entire time, and then last second sees Olubade flash across the middle, coming from the right side over the middle, and was able to find him. But, like, it's just it's growing pains right now with that. And I think the book is kind of out on Perbula doing that. And so I think if you're Vanderbilt, pressuring him is going to be a big part of what they try to do, and they'll probably succeed based on the way that the offensive line has played the last couple of weeks. And if you're Bo, you just have to elevate. And I don't know. I think he can do it. I just don't know if he's going to do it in this particular game, but that's the way you win, is if he's able to do it more times than not.
And obviously this is for like first and second down plays when you can live to fight another down. But if you're the coaching staff and you know he's not reading it well, like you said, it's not going to fix overnight. Let's go one read. If that's not there, you look at your second. If that's not there, we're tucking or we're throwing it away. Like, you do not go to your third and fourth read.
I don't think he does. I don't think that's a problem. I don't think that's a problem.
But I think that then he holds too long. Like, it needs to be 1-2, ball out, or I'm tucking or I'm throwing away. Like,
that's fine. I think he does that already, is what I'm saying. I don't think that's like a point of emphasis, because I haven't seen examples of him trying to throw it. If anything, I've seen him tucking it too soon and giving up on a play too quickly.
I should say I've seen not trying to throw to the third or fourth read, but trying to force it to the first read. We've seen that,
but that's not applicable to. Yeah. No, I hear you. The progression has to improve, and when you get past the second one, but he never gets to the second one, so it's not like we're talking about, oh, you don't look for the third read. That's not a problem for Bo Pribula. He's usually either already been tackled because he's diving for negative half a yard, or he is forcing it to that first read, as you mentioned. Like, having the willingness to go beyond the first read, and if it's not there, and in particular on first and second down, as you said, like on third down, fourth down, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
And look, interception.
He's made some of those throws. There was a throw that it basically had a double coverage. He split the defense, I think, to Manning, I think it was. There's been a couple of different ones. So I don't know. He's just got to play better, play more consistent. But I think he's a good player, Grant. Like, I'm not giving up on Bo Pribula because of some moments in games where we can pause the film and go, oh my gosh, how did he not see this? I think that's part of the growing pains, and I think nobody understands that better than Eli Drinkwitz either. Like, he's been through this with Brady Cook. He never wavered in his faith with Brady Cook. Brady Cook did some, frustrating things that made you pull your hair out in his. Yeah, dude. So, and then what did he become? He became the guy that you just ice water in his veins. You didn't want the ball in anybody else's hands trying to lead a game-winning drive. So I'm not overly concerned about Bo Pribula long term. But, like, obviously this season we want to see them win at least 10 games and make the playoff. And if you're going to do that, you got to win this particular football game. And so he's got to mature in a hurry. I believe it's within him to do it. And I also believe that you're going to get more out of Ahmad Hardy in this game, because Eli Drinkwitz and Kirby Moore have been getting cozy this week talking about how they're going to make that happen, so that when Saturday arrives, it's not viewed as Eli Drinkwitz meddling in play calling. It's like Kirby Moore is equipped to call a great game. That's what I see coming.
And maybe Drink has helped script it a little bit. One more thing before we go to break, come back, try to give our picks, because you'll be in a place that you don't have to find a river. You're going to be in a spot that
I am going to be in Tennessee. That's true. Yeah, no
river needed. I think, talking about this Missouri run game, would you like to see more designed for Bo, or maybe a more read option stunts where Bo can pull it, or it's just designed runs? Because if you're able to implement that, and we've seen it only a few times actually work, but they haven't really called a lot of designed runs for Pribula. We saw that draw against Alabama, work for about 10 yards. But if you start doing that and it's just effective to get 7-8 yards, he slides down, that takes one more guy out of the box for Ahmad Hardy to maybe.
I think if they think he can execute it regularly, then it's worth him installing more consistently. I already feel like we're asking a lot of Bo Pribula of, like, here are the things you need to do to level up and win this football game for us. And then also saying, hey, we really need to emphasize this read option game a little bit more this week too. Do you risk throwing too much on somebody's plate? And if that's not something that they're totally comfortable with, because again, I think they like Bo's mobility and the fact that he can do things that can save a play, but I don't think they're desperate to run him. And I think that's been true from game one. I think that it's a facet of the game, but not one that needs to be emphasized. But to your point, can it help Hardy? Can it help Roberts if the defense has to think about that? I think you're right that it can, but they just have to decide if they trust it to the level that, we're not going to fumble the football. We're not going to get our quarterback in harm's way, in ways that aren't really, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. So it's possible. I don't mind the idea.
I think personally, I think the read option actually comes natural to him because we've seen him do it at Penn State.
I think you're right. No, that's fair. Yeah.
Even if you're not running plays where he has to make a read on, because maybe you're worried it's going to overload his brain, just call the play that there's no read. It's you take the ball, you run it here, whatever the play call is. And again, I'm thinking 3 to 5 of these in this game. Like, I'm not saying let's run him 15 times into the dirt, like just enough to sprinkle in that maybe that outside linebacker will be a half second slower. Maybe that D end is just going to keep his eyes on Prbula a little bit longer. Like, especially if he breaks one for 10 yards early, that is a situation where Hardy then could just be a little more free with guys worried about Bo. Would be a big plus for Missouri.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm just like, I can't decide. So with Alabama, we said you just got to hang in this game. Let's be in a one possession game in the fourth quarter, get the crowd on your side, and you have a shot. And that came true. Missouri had the ball down 3, chance to tie or win. Like, that was what we thought the format would be. Hang in there. Don't let them get away. Be able to run the ball still, which they didn't do. I can't decide at this Vandy game. I'm hoping, like, obviously you want them to just take the lead and hold on to it. But, like, I can't decide what's more important to kind of weather the storm of all the hype and stuff, and kind of like Alabama did against Mizzou. You know, they weathered Mizzou's storm going down 7-0 early and responded. Is that what you think should be the Missouri outlook on the game? Is let's go in halftime, down a possession, tie game, and we're going to feel really good about the second half? Or let's go out and let's go for the kill in the first half. Let's get this team down. Let's be aggressive. Let's go up 7, 14, 17 points in the first half and just bury Vandy early.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to do that, but I don't think you're going in hoping to. I don't think you're going in hoping to just keep it within a possession either. Like, I think you want to play clean. I think you want to score every time you touch the football in the first half. I mean, that's ideally what you do. You don't turn it over. Don't give Vandy a short field. Make them work for everything that they've got, because I do expect it to be a high-scoring game and probably a high-scoring first half. No, you're gonna have to play clean possession after possession. You'll make some mistakes. They'll make some mistakes. In the end, it's probably going to be a close game. You're not going to be able to bury them and take them out of the game early. But if you're executing and scoring every time you touch the football, and maybe you get a takeaway that you're not, necessarily going in expecting, or you get them stopped on third down and they go for it on fourth down and they don't execute and they don't get it. Now you've got a short field. Like, there are ways to be up double digits at halftime in this game, but you're not putting them away by halftime. You're just hoping to. You're racing to 30, and then the game begins. That's honestly a possibility for the way this one goes.
And I should say more of, like, it'll be interesting. Obviously, you want to come out and you want to be up 21-0, but it'll be interesting in situations early in that first half on 4th and 2s, maybe go for it situations, what Elijah Drinkowitz elects to do. That is his aggressiveness. I'm piquing my interest. Well, let's go to break, come back. We're going to talk about all our picks for the SEC weekend, including our 5 favorite picks. We'll give our prediction for this Missouri Vanderbilt game and try to win you some money. All that and more on Miz-Stl. And we're back on Miz-Stl with Grant Saltzman and Brendan Schaefer. Brendan, you had a very good week. Why don't you walk us? Well, you know what? I'll say we both won money. Whoever picks you tailed, we won. And I think, did all the picks that we agreed upon hit? Yeah.
Actually, I think that might be right. Wow.
Why don't you walk us through the week?
Well, we did pretty well. I mean, I did better than you, but I went 10-3 to pick up 7 units and get back into the black for the season, +2 on the year. Good stuff. We all had Mizzou, we all had Bama, Mississippi State late cover, Arkansas late cover. I mean, we had a lot of little backdoor action that worked out for us. Georgia got me the late cover, which sank your Ole Miss pick. South Carolina, that was the one that we both were on that did not cover. And I don't think you'll catch me betting the Gamecocks again. I just cannot. I can't put trust in them anymore. I edged you out on LSU Vandy. I took the Vandy side and doubled down, which helped me. I doubled down on Bama as well. Was disappointed in Indiana because they didn't cover by virtue of a late Michigan State field goal. Michigan State, why kick that field goal? Just go for it on fourth down. They must have known the spread. Miami, I was just wrong, and that's just fine because it was fun to watch that upset. But I went 10-3. You had a good week, 7-5-1, but you're still down by 14 units on the season. my friend.
I need a really good week, and I need you to have a really bad one.
I wouldn't count on it.
That would be ideal. All right, let's start with a top 15 matchup, one of two happening in the SEC, counting the Missouri Vanderbilt game. Ole Miss travels to Norman. They are a 5.5-point underdog on DraftKings against the Oklahoma Sooners. Brendan, I really like this Ole Miss team. I think they're pretty darn good. They lost a heartbreaker to Georgia. I don't know. I think they win this football game, so I'm definitely going to take them plus 5.5 against Ole Miss or against Oklahoma. Pardon me. I'm taking.
Yeah, this is going to be another one of those where we agree. I think Ole Miss can very much be live in this game. I think they might lose it close. I think I'm just watching to see how Oklahoma's defense responds to an actual tough offense and capable one, because I think it's really the first one that they've played all year. So that will be interesting to me as a storyline. But if Oklahoma wins, I see it being more like a field goal.
Yeah, I think so too. We go to maybe one of the worst SEC games ever played. Auburn at Arkansas. Two teams that just have nothing to give. Arkansas is a 2.5-point favorite. I actually have I don't know what to do here. I have no. I mean, maybe
I know what I'm doing, but
what are you doing?
I am going to say that this is rock meets hard place, but not in the way that you're framing it. You're framing it like, oh, both these teams stink. No, I think this is compelling as a football game. Arkansas has a top 5 offense in the country. No snark, no sarcasm. They're really, really good offensively. Taylor Green is a problem. And Auburn has a top 10 to 15 defense in the country. I think Arkansas's offense can get to Auburn's defense, especially at home. I don't love the number, which it was more of a pick 'em, but I think Arkansas wins this game. And so I guess I got to say that they're going to do it by at least a field goal. I'll take Arkansas minus 2.5.
Oh, man.
You know you want to fade me. You have to catch up. Here's the thing. If we just pick the same every time, every week.
I really want to, but at the same time, I think your pick is right. Like, that's the issue. My heart tells me Auburn. My brain tells me Arkansas. And
if you use brain and Arkansas in the same sentence, that's never true. There's no brain wattage down there. Come on.
I think I am going to go Hogs minus 2.5 because Jackson Arnold sucks.
That's decent analysis as far as I can tell.
Thank you.
All right.
Next one up, Alabama at South Carolina. And you just said I
already gave away the plot
on the Gamecocks again.
I didn't know the number either. I didn't know the number of this one before I said that. It's a big number. I don't care. Until the Cocks cover one, I'm not touching those Cocks. That's right. I won't touch them. So you can touch the Cocks if you want. I'm not doing it. I'll go Alabama minus 11.5.
Hopefully nobody clips that. I will go South Carolina. I will just use the school's name.
You're gonna touch them, huh?
11.5. I will touch the Gamecocks. Yes.
Okay. I didn't have plans to do that. It just kind of happened. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a way you can catch up. You can catch up if South Carolina, for the first time all year, stops sucking. Good luck.
I don't love the odds. Mississippi State hosting the Texas Longhorns. Mississippi State is a 7-point underdog in this one. Clinga, whatever noise they make.
I think it's Clinga. Yeah.
I'll take Miss State set plus 7. If I was actually betting this, it's minus 108. I think I'd buy that half point.
Yeah, I would too.
7.5.
I would too.
But for the sake of our game, I'll take Miss State plus 7.
Yeah, I'm going to do that as well. Don't love it because Mississippi State feels like one of those teams that could come up with an upset. We talk about that about Auburn. We talk about that with Florida actually did it when they beat Texas. I thought that about South Carolina for several weeks, and South Carolina never did it. And so I'm like, well, I guess I have to stop thinking that. And so that's where I am with the Gamecocks. With Mississippi State, I still want to buy in, and I certainly am not I'm not afraid to fade Texas right now. If you're going to favor Texas on the road against anybody by a touchdown or more, I'm probably taking the other side. It worked last week with Kentucky for no discernible reason. I didn't like anything about Kentucky going into that game. I just didn't like the number. I'm kind of feeling that same way this time. This feels like another one that the Longhorns could have to battle it out. As long as that Mississippi State team hasn't kind of folded up shop for the year, which I don't think they have. They've got enough wins they're playing for bowl eligibility. They're playing for plenty. Give me the Bulldogs in that one, plus 7 at home.
Yeah, I think that could be an upset alert there in
I'm not going to go that far, but I
Okay.
like the number.
Texas wins maybe by 4. We'll go next up, Tennessee at Kentucky in the Bluegrass State. Kentucky is 8.5-point underdog. I think Kentucky sucks. I think they stink. I know they just gave Texas a game, but they lost it.
Yeah.
They have more momentum coming into this. I think Tennessee's offense is much better, and they'll win like 20-10, 24-14. I don't even know if Kentucky can get to
I
that
like
number.
the score prediction.
Yeah.
I like the score prediction, but I'm going to take Kentucky by the same logic. Like I think they're able to look, man. I don't think that much of Tennessee, especially their defense. I think they've got a very good offense, but Kentucky's kind of gnarly. They're kind of squirrely, and maybe it's more like a 21-13. Like this could be a 21-6 game where Kentucky scores late, and it's suddenly 21-13. Actually, if they do that, they'll probably go for 2. Either way, I'm going to take the Wildcats, and frankly, if we're talking about a rooting guide, I hope Kentucky wins the game because that's your ticket to Tennessee not being in this playoff mix.
Yep.
And there's plenty of teams that have a lane still toward 10-2 that you're rooting for the Vols to drop another game.
And with Tennessee, I think they will drop another game, but this feels like a game they could walk in, kind of like Arkansas. They were up like 20 points against Arkansas, and then just kind of in the fourth quarter put on the autopilot and won it by like 7.
Right.
This could happen in this one as well.
And by the way, Tennessee losing their baseball coach this week. Let's get Tennessee losing this game to Kentucky, and then they lose some of their real games. They go like 6-6, 7-5, and then we can see Hype will get fired too. Like let's get greedy when it comes to the sorrows of Vols fans this season.
And now we have the night game on ABC, the night SEC game. Texas A&M traveling to Baton Rouge for a desperate LSU team who has to win this football game to have any hope of the playoffs alive.
Yeah,
LSU a plus 2.5 underdog, and this is a weird spot because it's LSU at night. It's a good defense against an A&M team who I haven't been overly impressed with. I'm not saying I don't think they're really good, but
they win every game.
They win every game, and they just find weird ways to win the games. I think they win this. They could still win this game, but I'm going to take LSU plus 2.5. If it's going to happen, like I think it could be like a 31-30 A&M win. Well, LSU probably won't score that much. A 21-20 A&M win, and they walk out with a weird victory, but they win it by 2 or less. So I'll take LSU plus 2.5.
Yeah, the number says, oh my gosh, you're getting points with LSU at home at night. Like, absolutely. That's why I'm just taking the other side. This is just a spot play where I'm going,
That's how I feel.
A&M, and I'd love LSU to win this game. I think it would be good for everybody if they would, because I think they're losing more games yet to come. But something about that number is like, A&M might win this game by a good 7 to 10 points. It'll be close. It'll feel closer. But at the end, I think A&M has impressed me. Like Marcel Reed, I think, is leveled up. And so I know they haven't played a ton of elite competition, especially yet in conference play. Very, very lax conference schedule for A&M. Their 2 toughest games are probably this one and maybe even the Mizzou one coming up in a couple of weekends. But, I'll go A&M with this one. So we've got plenty to differ on. We're different on Tennessee, on A&M, on Bama. And we've got this Mizzou one yet to figure out, don't we?
Yeah, and the Missouri Tigers traveling to Vanderbilt at 2:30 tomorrow.
Oh, I'm nervous.
We'll both be in attendance. You have cheap seats right behind the Missouri bench. I'll be on the field, so
I'll be 8 rows behind you.
Yeah, no, I'll say hello.
Okay.
Missouri a plus 2.5 underdog. That's at minus 105. Again, if you're on a book that's plus 2.5, I'd probably find it in.
It's usually expensive. That extra half point can be expensive to get to 3.
Let's see if it lets me do it here. Only 25% of the bets have been on Missouri, by the way. 25 on the money line.
Really?
21%.
Oh, I love to hear that.
And 81% is on the over. So if you wanted to, DraftKings does not give the option to get it to 3.
No, you probably can, but it's in a different section, I would think.
Which is minus 145. So I would call minus
3.5
plus 3.
You're paying a lot for that. I wouldn't mess with that.
You are. What would you take plus 2.5, Brendan Schaefer? I'll start. I'm going to go. Missouri goes into Nashville, and they find a way to victory. They get out hot. They're able to run the football. They score. Defense gets a turnover that sets up a score, just like the Alabama game. 31-27 Missouri, and the game goes over as well.
I was considering that exact pick. You telling me just how many people are on the over has me wondering if the game script is still like up and down the field, but that there's like a couple of untimed turnovers for maybe either team that keeps it more in that mid-20s range. I've said all week, like, race to 30 and then the game begins, and it could absolutely be that. It could be 38-34. It could be very possible. Vanderbilt likes to try to do the time of possession game, though, and so does Missouri. The more I think about the number getting higher and higher, I kind of like the under as a play. Give me Mizzou 27, Vandy 24. I don't think in a vacuum Mizzou can hold Vanderbilt to 24 points. I don't. But I'm predicting that as the score because I think some funky things happen in this game where there may be some turnovers. So I'll maybe fade the public on that one a little bit just because of the line movement. But give me Mizzou. Like I've said, to make the playoff, you've got to win this game. Frankly, I'm giving Mizzou like a 48% chance to win this game. I think it's a coin flip, and I think they're up against it a little bit. But I'm not fading my own team when it comes to this prediction.
I like that a lot. Let's get into our 5 favorite plays to round this out that aren't the plays we just picked. We can double down, though. I'll start. It's one of my favorite teams to fade. I will be fading the BYU Cougars on the road for a big win.
Why do you fade the Mormons?
Well, don't have enough time. We only have 7 minutes. I'll go Iowa State -2.5. I think they throw the ball a little bit better than BYU does. I think they'll find a way to stifle that running game with the number 47 at QB.
You make it so easy for me to find these favorite picks when you pick teams like Iowa State. Give me the points. Give me BYU. We'll just lock that one in. I do kind of want to know where the hatred comes from, but maybe I don't want to know. I don't know. Maybe there's something deep seated here.
No, it's just I don't know. There's something about this BYU team. I don't think they're that good. I think it's a
I think this comes down to there's a girl from BYU that did Grant wrong or something. There's something that happened here.
No, it's just I don't think they're that good. I picked Utah last week, and that didn't work either.
Dude, I don't think Iowa State's that good, but I will say the spread, when I look at that spread, it does tell me that when you're getting points with the team that just had the emotional win, your eyes light up as a square sports bettor. And so you think, oh, man, this is going to be easy for BYU. And then Iowa State wins it by a field goal, or maybe they dominate the game, as you said, because it is on the road. Yeah. So I think you are on the sharper side of this, but sometimes the sharper side doesn't win, and I just like watching you squirm. So I'll give you the chance. You need to differ with me on these picks to catch up. So I'll give that one to you. I'll go with the Mormons.
I'll take another disgusting pick. Minnesota +8.5 against Iowa. The over/under is only 38.5. I don't think there's going to be that many points in the game. I honestly think if Minnesota can get to 10 points, it probably hits. So I'll go Minnesota +8.5.
Yeah, they beat Nebraska outright. Is that what I'm remembering? And I didn't see that game as well as I thought I would. So their defense impressed me. Minnesota's did. I'm going to take a kind of resurgent Pitt against NC State. -6.5 is a number that stands out to me. I think at home they win this game by at least a touchdown. So I'll go with the Pitt Panthers in this one, -6.5. I just don't think very much of NC State.
Okay. I have been fairly good picking on Friday night games, especially the over. I will take Cal versus Virginia Tech over 50.5. I think Drones will be slinging that thing. I think that freshman for Cal, I can't say his name, I think he'll be slinging it.
JKS is all you do.
And if they sling it and it results in picks, even better. Defenses will get some good field position for the offense. I'll go the over 50.5 in that game.
I've been watching almost every Cal game. I've spent too much angst on, like, I needed Cal to cover this past weekend against Belichick, and it didn't work out. So I might have to just stay away from everything Cal related. And it was disgusting, gnarly to watch that football team. It was gnarly. What was the number on that over for you?
50.5.
Who are they playing?
They're playing Virginia Tech.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like that pick. I'm not going to fade it, though, because I just don't want anything to do with Cal right now. I'm still grieving. I think this Indiana UCLA number is wrong. Like if they can only beat Michigan State by 25, UCLA should be able to have a similar outing against Indiana. I bet Indiana last week. They did me wrong. I guess I'm ready to be wrong on the other side when they win by 50. But UCLA's looked like more competent, obviously, since the coaching change. So give me UCLA +25.5 on the road at
All right, I have
Bloomington.
2 picks left. and I'll double down on one. I don't do this often, but I'm going to do it. Give me Ole Miss.
I usually do, and I haven't yet.
Plus 5.5 for Ole Miss.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably one that you're beating me to the punch on that. So that's probably smart. I think they can win it, Grant. And I think we're probably supposed to root for Oklahoma because Oklahoma has more chances to slip. But something tells me this is going to be a game that goes down to the end. And even if they don't win it, the Rebels don't win it, there's a lot of ways to cover 5.5. I'd probably buy it to 6 as well on that one, especially if I'm putting it in a parlay, just to kind of maybe get the chance to push on something like that. But that's not a bad double down at all. I'm trying to think of if there is double down out there for me because I did it twice last week. I'd have to go back and look, Grant, but I think my record on these is pretty sterling for the season.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. I can't do it with Mississippi State and Kentucky. 2 underdogs I like, but I could see them being blowouts, so you're careful with those. Backdoor cover situation for Alabama, but, I mean, again, they warded off the backdoor stuff with Tennessee last weekend. Oh, boy. The Arkansas, I'm intrigued by that over-under in the Arkansas game. Like, my premise is Arkansas is going to win it, but if 55.5 feels like a big number, Arkansas could score 37 points, but can Auburn score 20? Like, I don't know that I want to necessarily put an under on anything involved in Arkansas, but that's something I'm thinking about too. I don't have a lot of a great feel for it. Well, I'll just do one that I don't believe in quite as much, but if it fades and if it's wrong, I'll get joy out of it. Well, no, I won't. Because what do we want Texas A&M to win? Because if they're top coming into Mizzou, that's great, and they don't have enough games left to lose anyway. They're probably going to the playoff. Unless Mizzou beats them, I don't know.
I don't know. If you think of that Mizzou's going to beat them, a 2-loss Missouri versus a 2-loss A&M, Mizzou probably gets in because they beat them.
I'm calling it the spot play. Texas A&M minus 2.5 was going to be my double down. I've normally gone with underdogs for this, but I'll go with A&M in this case.
Okay, I like it. I think they're gonna hurt you because it's A&M and you hate A&M and College
That'd be
Station.
fine.
I'll go with the team I've loved to fade, and I've said is bad all season. Washington minus 4 against the Fighting Illini. It's a number I hate.
I was looking right at that game. Oh, boy.
It's a tough road game. Washington's great at home. They're going to beat them.
Let me lean into the hilarity. Texas Tech minus 37.5 against Oklahoma State. They could win it by 60 if they really want to. This could burn me. That's too big of a number to be messing around in a conference game, but Tech had that unfortunate loss against Arizona State. I think they'll be out for blood against an incompetent team this week.
I forgot Tech lost. I agree. But is it the backup? Is it the starter? We don't know.
Doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. I think they'll be fine against this team.
Well, those are our picks of the week on Miz-Stl. Tigers travel to Vandy. Make sure to stay tuned on STL Sports Central, Miz-Stl on Instagram. We'll have a lot of coverage. Follow Brendan Schaefer on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter to give you all the coverage and breakdown of this game. This is the Loot Information Station. We're live and on demand at luinfo.com.